Found this log, and actually, to be honest with you, I don't even know where I got this log from. But here it is, and I decided that I wanted to try to make a keepsake box out of this log. It obviously went through a fire, and I thought maybe the burns might give it some character. So my thinking was that I wasn't going to make a super fancy box out of it, because I wanted the burns and the ash and all that to give it its character. Plus, the way the box was shaped, I think it would give it some more character. And you'll see a little bit later, both of these, the burns and the shape of the log, caused me some trouble. But, we adapted and overcame. So I proceeded to do some cutting and grinding and sanding and chiseling and scraping to get all the burn marks off and all that stuff. Then I went into the epoxy phase, and I was actually pretty surprised at how much epoxy this took. Right here you just see me putting down like the preliminary coat here, but that little crevice there took quite a bit. And then when I actually got into the log, there was still more nooks and crannies that still didn't get filled up with epoxy. But that didn't really bother me too much, because I ended up just covering it with some felt. And the main goal of that epoxy was to strengthen the log, so that, once you start making those fine cuts, sometimes those drawers and the sides can get a little bit weak. And so the epoxy is not necessarily there for any aesthetics, but more for firming up and securing this log a little bit. And here, just cleaning it up a little bit. This is not the fun part. This doesn't require any creation. It's just taking off the tape, not sure why I felt like I needed you to see all the details of me getting this tape off, but here you go, in case you were wondering. And the tape was put down so that the epoxy wouldn't leak all the way through. But anyways, enough of this. Let's see if we can get onto something a little bit better. So after I got that off, it came down to sanding. And again, I don't know if it's just the wood or because of the fire. I think this is oak, and I think that fire really galvanized this wood, because it was really tough to sand and to cut. My bandsaw is not a great bandsaw. It's a low-end bandsaw, but it struggled. It struggled quite a bit to make these cuts. What I'm doing here is, typically on a bandsaw, you have these rounded corners on the boxes, because that's the way the bandsaw has to cut. I was trying to get some 45s on that, and I did okay on this first box here in the first drawer, but I couldn't quite get it to swing all the way around to make it on that second one. So I had to cut that little spacer and had to cut that off. But after a while, got it all figured out and got the drawers cut and got them cut out. And once I got them cut out, if you do bandsaws at all, the next step is moving to the boxes themselves, or the drawers, and cutting off the ends and hopefully making straight lines. Like I said, my bandsaw is not great, but it does the job. And I think the bandsaw is about, it matches my skill level. So I don't need a real fancy bandsaw, because my skill level's not quite there yet. Hopefully, as I get better, my tools will get better too. So there's that. Now it's time to clean up the backside. And that epoxy went all the way through and kind of oozed out everywhere. So I took my grinder and just started grinding. And if you notice, I'll stay away from the edges of the back here, because I don't mind so much getting in the middle, but I want those edges to fit real snug up against the back of the box. And if I start grinding on them, it'll mess up the cut of the blade. And right now the cut of the blade matches both the box and that cap, and that fits on the back. Here I am putting some oil on this. I think I ended up putting 4 coats of just some oil. And man, this box just absorbed that thing, that oil. It was so dry, but it looks good. Now I had to figure out what to do with this odd shape on the front of the box. As you can tell, that cutting left this odd shape. And so I decided I wanted to use this. I was going back and forth between that Naguri pattern and or Bernie. And I opted to do the vines for a couple of reasons. One, if I didn't like it, I think it would be easier to fix. I could just go back through, sand these vines off that I'm burning into there. And the other reason is that once you do that other technique, you're committed. And if it doesn't look good, it doesn't look good. I think it would have looked okay, but I think it would have been better on the drawers themselves instead of on the side. But anyways, I committed to this, and I think once I put some more oil on there, it turned out okay. I mean, you let me know what you think. And the other problem that I was having is what kind of pulls should I put on it? I thought about some brass. That could have been nice, but after thinking about it, I think I wanted to keep it very natural, like something you would find in the woods, without a lot of metal or brass or anything on that. So I got some oak, shaved it down, and just made these little pulls, put some wire in there, wedged it in there, and they're pretty solid. They're not coming off unless you really get after it, but I think it looks pretty good. Here's another coat of oil. I think this is the 3rd coat. I think all in all, I think I put 4 coats of oil on it. And as you can see, it's starting to come together a little bit. Put my logo, and I actually put it on the inside of the box so you can't see it unless you pull the drawers out and look in the back. Yeah, I know. Clever. Put some green felt down, and here she is. I have mixed feelings about it. I think there's some uniqueness to it. It's kind of fun. Is it my favorite? Probably not. But it is a fun piece to have around. Anyways, just remember, he makes all things new. Thanks for coming by. We'll talk to you later.